Hello and welcome and good morning, friends of Sudoku, to the New York Times Hard Sudoku puzzle. Today is October 2nd, 2023. It's quite early in the morning, but for some strange reason, this puzzle is already available. Here in Vietnam, during the daylight savings time in the US, I can usually access this puzzle at 9 in the morning, and in the wintertime, I have to wait until 10 in the morning here in Vietnam before I can see the new puzzle. But today it's available very early, so I am certainly going to take advantage of that. We have a 7 blocking across here and down here, so the 7 must go here. We have a 3 blocking up and 1 3 blocking over, so here's a 3. And even more 3s. We have a 3 here and here blocking these 5 squares, and we have this 3 blocking down. So a 3 must go here. Now we have a 3 blocking up and down and over. So a 3 must go here. And now we have 3 and 8 in these 2 squares because we have a 3 and an 8 here, and we have a 3 and an 8 here. And they block these 3 squares from being 3 and 8. Since this 3 already blocks this square, we know that the 8 must go here and the 3 here. And I believe the last 3 is going to be here because we have these 2 3s blocking these 5 squares, and this 3 is blocking across. So here's a 3. That was a rather quick. So what can we see? Apart from this, we have a 1 and a 9 blocking here. So 1 and 9 must go in 2 of these squares here. And we got 6 here or here. Therefore, we're going to have a 6 in the bottom row in one of these 3 squares here. We're going to have a 7 here or here because this 7 blocks up, and one of these therefore must be a 7 blocking down. We're going to have a 9 either here or here because this 9 blocks across and this 9 blocks down. So this 9 blocks across. A ghost 9 here blocks across. One of these must be a 9, but remember how we said that a 9 also had to go in one of these 2 squares, so therefore this square is ruled out for a 9. The 9 therefore goes here. We have 8s here or here. We need 8s also for row 9. So an 8 can go here and here. We also have 8s in one of these 2 squares here. 4 numbers missing in the center column, namely a 2, 4, 6, and a 7. 4 and 7, this is a 2, 6. And 6, by the way, has to go in one of these 2 squares here because of this 6 blocking up. Oh, hang on, don't we have a 1, 6, and a 9? Yes, we do. We have a 1, 6, and a 9 in these 3 squares because we have a 1, 6, and a 9 blocking these 2 squares. They therefore have to be a 2 and a 4. And these 2 squares therefore must be a 5 and an 8. But let's get back to these 1, 6, and 9. We have a 6 and a 9 blocking this square, which therefore must be a 1. So 2 and 4, this is also a 2 and a 4, of course. And that means that this position here has got to be a 5 because this 5 blocks down and this 5 blocks up. Yes, so here's a 5. Now we have a 5 either here or here. And that's all I can say about the 5s at this time. 2, 5, 8, and a 4 for these squares here. 2, 5, 8. There's a 2 and an 8 here, so this is a 4 or a 5. And that's not quite obvious. We need a 1, 2, 6, and a 9 for row 1. There's a 1 and a 9 here, so this has got to be a 2 or a 6. 1 and 9. The 9 blocks up here, so a 9 can go here and it can go here. But that's not good enough. We need to reduce the number of squares the 9 can go. But here is the thing. We can't have a 1 here and we can't have a 1 here because of these 2 1s. Therefore, a 1 must go here, here, or here. Blocking across. This one blocks up, this one blocks across, so here is 1. Now we're looking for a 2, 4, and a 6 for these squares here. The 6 blocks across, so one of these must be a 6. What did we say about the 6s earlier? We said that a 6 had to go in one of these 3 squares. So now we know it's going to be one of these 2 squares. A small help, a very small help. But finding this one was quite crucial, I think, for column 8, for which we need to find an 8, 9, 2, and a 6. And look at row 3. We have a 2, a 9, and an 8 blocking this square. Therefore, it must be a 6. And we just discussed how one of these 2 must be a 6, didn't we? The 6 blocks down, giving me a 6 here. That's very nice. So now 2, 8, and a 9 for these squares here. Unfortunately, this is a 2, 9, this is a 2, 8, and this is a 2, 8, or a 9. So we are not out of the woods yet. So let me have a look at row 3. We have some synergies here, I think. We need to find a 1, 4, 5, and a 7. So there's a 4 and a 5 here, so this has got to be a 1 or a 7. There's a 1 and a 7 here, so this has got to be a 4 or a 5. But this 5 forces a 4 to go here, and the 5 must go here. And here we now have a 1, 7 and a 1, 7 remote pair. These 2 5s block these 4 squares, therefore this must be a 5. Now we have 5s blocking across here, and we have a 5 blocking across here, giving me a 5 for this corner cell. This 5 blocks up, and this 5 blocks up. Here's another 5. Can we? Yes, we can. We have got a 5 blocking up here, and here, and across here. So here's a 5. Now we have all the 3s and all the 5s for today. And we do remember that these 2 squares were a 5 and an 8 remote pair, don't we? Now the 5 is taken. We know that this must be an 8. Here we only have to deal with a 2, 6 pair now. And that is also quite straightforward because we know that one of these had to be a 6 blocking up. So this gives me a 2 here and a 6 here. So now we have a 2 and a Yes, a 7 for these 2 squares and an 8 and a 4 for these 2 squares. Still a 6, 9 here. But we can find another 6 because this 6 blocks across and this 6 blocks up and this 6 blocks across. This must be a 6. This 6 blocks down. Remember how one of these had to be a 6? Because this 6 blocks across and this 6 blocks down. Now that this 6 blocks here, a 6 is forced to go here. Now a 1, 2, and a 9 for the top row. The 2, of course, blocks here and here. So here's a 2. The 9 blocks here. So this is a 1, and this must be a 9. Here we're looking for a 7 and a 4. But this was a 1, 7, wasn't it? Therefore, since we found the 1, this must be a 7, this must be a 4, and this must be a 1. Now here we need a 9 and a 7. The 7, of course, goes here, and the 9, of course, goes here. Now we have a 9 for this square, and it had to be a 9 because this 9 blocks over, and this 9 blocks down. So we found the 9. This one should be fairly easy. It must be a 4, making this a 4 and this a 2. Still a 6, 9 here. Here now, a 6 and a 2. Therefore, a 7 and a 4 here. I think that will have to wait. What is going on here? An 8 and a 2. Also not possible. We can find a 2 for one of these squares here because this 2 blocks here. And we know that one of these is a 2 blocking here. This is a 2 or an 8. This is a 2 or a 7. 4 and 8 blocking down, this is a 2 or a 7, isn't it? Yes, we have a 4 and an 8 blocking down here. So these 2 squares here must be a 4 and an 8. And since the 4 blocks down, we know that this must be an 8 and this must be a 4. Now it's easy to find a 4 for this square and therefore a 1 for this. This 1 blocks down and this 1 blocks across. So here is a 1. These two must be 2 and the 8 of course blocks here. So here's an 8. The 2 goes here. This has got to be a 9. Now we can distribute the 9 and the 6 for these two squares. The 6 goes here and the 9 goes here. And that gives me a 6 here and it gives me a 2 here. Here we need a 7 and a 2. Here a 7 and a 2. Let's do this one first. It seems so much easier. It must be a 2. Now this is a 2 and this is a 7. And now we have a 7 here and we have a 4 here. That gives me a 4 for this square and an 8 for this. Now this must be a 2 and this must be a 7. And that's it for today's New York Times Hard Sudoku puzzle. Thank you for watching and bye for now.